Hello and welcome back to Wyvern Minis. I'm talking about my Tyranid Combat Patrol here, and in the last couple of videos I've finished painting them, which was good. Finishing them off with a nice wash using the Army Painter Dark Tone quick wash, quick shade over the top of the contrast painted models. And then finishing the bases off nicely with these great tufts from Gamer's Grass, the neon pink and blue, alien blue I think they call it, which I think just gives a really nice pop to the models and makes them stand out. But the point of this video is to talk about a little issue that I had, which is something that I've experienced before, which was when I came to varnish the models. So as you can see with this first picture of this termagant, I spray varnished it with the Games Workshop Munitorum varnish, and I ended up with this slightly dusty texture, particularly on the extremities of the model, which looks a little bit rubbish. I have had this happen before, and I was told by Games Workshop at the time, this was some years ago, when I had a dragon. I spent ages painting it, and then it got little white bits all in the scales. They told me that the spray varnish was probably old and needed to be replaced. I think what happened this time is I was spray varnishing them when the weather was a little bit naff, a bit wet outside, so the humidity was high, and I didn't shake the can enough, so it was totally my fault. I hadn't used the can for quite a long time, and they really need, when they haven't been used for a while, they really need a lot of shaking. So the first thing is make sure you shake those spray varnish cans a lot. But I was a little bit annoyed, as you might imagine, so I had a little look online and I found an interesting little video which suggested a solution, which was to use either olive oil or gloss varnish over the top. I didn't have any gloss varnish available, and there was none for sale in my local art shop, which was a bit of a shame. The GW Art Goat, they had the Storm Shield matte stuff, but they didn't have the gloss, which was a shame. But this video suggested that using the gloss varnish or olive oil would alter the properties of the varnish underneath and make it not white and opaque. So I sat in my kitchen painting the models with olive oil, and it actually worked. I couldn't believe it. So there's a little tip if you want to try it. If you do end up with this problem, I mean, try to avoid it by just shaking up that varnish for ages. But if you do end up with the issue that it's gone a bit opaque, the olive oil trick does seem to work. I don't really understand it, but it does. Now that left me with a secondary problem, which was that the models were all too shiny. So I tried then revarnishing them with the Munitorum varnish over the top of that. It didn't knock the shininess off them enough. I found before, when I've been using things like the Army Painter, they do their dips, the quick shade dips, as well as the quick shade in the dropper bottles, and I used the dips for scenery pieces, and they kind of give you a gloss varnish effect, as well as giving you a wash, but then that gloss is knocked off by the more matte version of the spray varnish, which I think people like Byron from Artis Opus would say is actually satin rather than matte, but you know, I don't want to split hairs. It knocks the shine off it. So I was hoping it would do the same on top of the olive oil, and it didn't. It did a little bit, but not enough. I didn't really want these Tyranids to look too slimy and all that, and actually I found that the olive oil was still coming off and making them a little bit slippery. Wasn't really the effect I was looking for when I go to the table. So I got because I bought the matte Storm Shield from GW. I used that with a brush and brushed that all over all of them, and I guess maybe the brushing helps to wipe off the olive oil as well, and maybe that was the key. I needed to wipe all the olive oil off, but at the end of the day, if you've got a problem with your spray varnish from GW, if you've not shaken it up enough or it's too wet that day or whatever, you can resolve it with some olive oil and then try and wipe the olive oil off and put the Storm Shield varnish on top of that with a brush, and then it ends up looking pretty good. So this is it. This is the last little video in painting up my Combat Patrol and the Screamer Killer for fun. I will be getting some new Tyranids, I'm sure, because they're coming out in a couple of weeks. So I'll be adding to the army. I played a 1,000-point game the other day, which went terribly because I couldn't get the synergies of the army to work whatsoever. But anyway, that's a story for another day. I'm really pleased with how these models look. I hope that, you know, if you do end up with the same sort of problem I did with the varnish, that hopefully that helps. I think it will be interesting to try using the hard coat gloss varnish to see if that works in a better way to the olive oil. As I say, I just didn't have any available, but that's certainly something I'll get in case I encounter this problem again. I might revisit that dragon as well, now that I know the trick. I might revisit the dragon with some hard coat to see if I can sort that out, and post the results on here. But there you go, a useful little tip and hopefully some nice little pictures. So yeah, like and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thanks a lot. Goodbye.